the good news about cryptocurrency, evangelizing, if you will. I'm Joel Comm.
I'm Travis Wright with the blockchain blockheads, the crypto clowns, the token tools.
The token tools. There you go. There's this talk we had with Michael Godsey because they are developing some
freelance marketplace, and it's where freelancers are able to sell digital tasks and earn ET, and they can use that. They can top up their phone bill. In some countries, they can use ETN to top up their electricity at their house. So, are you an artist, an illustrator, a designer, or an animator, or are you looking for those folks? Well, they're available at anytask.com. You can go there to badco.in/anytask and get any digital task done, baby.
So you're thinking, I got a blockchain-based app that I want to build. I want to understand how this works. How do I go about it? Are there any shortcuts? Well, there may be. Let's get to this interview with Michael Godsey. When we talk about building for blockchain, immediately people go running for cover. It's like, oh, that's super techie, nerdy, geeky, pointy head stuff, and I don't understand it, and I don't want anything to do with it. It kind of reminds me like when we started learning with our PCs and DOS, but then along came Windows and friendly user interfaces and drag and drop to make things easier. Well, things are no different in the blockchain space. As the tech moves forward, so too do the tools. And one product that's had a lot of success helping people build blockchain-based apps with over 150,000 developers is Infura. Michael Godsey is the head of product there at Infura, and he's with us here today. Michael, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Thanks. Super happy to be talking to you guys.
We've had a guy call into the show that's crypto infurious before. That's not the same thing, though, is it?
Slightly different. Slightly.
That was a joke that I was going to have. I'm so infurious right now.
I stole it from him. He was like, he had the layup ready there, and I just came in and stole the ball.
He was actually crypto furious, but infurious is extra furious.
Yeah. So you've got an interesting background that fascinates me because you've worked as in the video game industry, Call of Duty, Need for Speed, other EA Sports stuff. Before we get into the blockchain nerdy stuff, tell us a little bit about your experience in the world of EA.
Oh man, yeah. So EA was my first company after graduating from my master's degree, and they taught me all sorts of amazing things about building software and building really amazing video games, and they were kind of my initial mentors, and it was a really, really awesome place to work. I got to work on some incredible titles with incredible people, and I think we made quite a few people happy with the games that we made, so that was awesome.
Yeah, a lot of awesome stuff has popped out of that. So let me ask you this then. So how did you go from gaming and then into building a blockchain platform? So now you're building it looks like with Infura, which is infura.io. And I'm here looking at the site right now. I'm getting started. And this, how did you make that transition?
Yeah, so in between, I made a stop after working at EA to work for a company called Gaikai, and we were acquired by Sony. We made a streaming games platform, which is now Sony's PlayStation Now. So it's a way to stream games directly to your console or directly to a device without needing the computing power line. Get it all over the internet. It's super cool. And met a ton of really awesome people there. One of those happened to be the founder of Infura. And while I was working on Call of Duty, him and some of the other people that were slightly before me and joining the team called me up and told me to quit my job and come and make developer tools for Ethereum. And I figured it was a super exciting opportunity and something that people really needed, and was very excited about the possibility of Ethereum and Web3 in general, and so it was a no-brainer.
So as we're talking about Ethereum, first thing that comes to mind are smart contracts and NFTs. And Ethereum has just been horrible for NFTs, great for smart contracts. But in terms of, the gas fees that can sometimes rocket and the speed, not the best thing. So what types of tools are you helping people to develop to overcome some of these limitations?
There's a few solutions to that problem. So the gas, obviously there's fluctuations in the gas and the complexity of getting a transaction in on Ethereum. But there are some innovative tools that Ethereum builds that makes that transaction process a lot faster and easier, as well as cheaper. So we basically we act as a relayer of your transaction and through our feature called ITX. And what this does is it allows us to utilize our understanding of the transaction pool and make sure that your transaction is getting priced at the most aggressive, lowest price possible. And you don't have to mind it. It's kind of, we make sure it's getting its price bumped if it needs. We're making sure that it gets in and a miner sees it and it gets mined. And so we try to make it super, super easy. So that's one way of helping with that, is just the general user experience around transactions and kind of breaking that apart and making it just super easy for developers to send transactions. The other side of that is the scaling solutions that you're starting to see on top, that are built in and on top of Ethereum. So you have side chains like Polygon, you have layer 2 chains like Optimism and Arbitrum, and these give people solutions for having fast, very low fee transactions. And this is going to be an evolution that I think you're going to see a lot of Ethereum developers and Ethereum applications take, is starting to incorporate these at certain layers or higher transaction layers of their application. And that's, so there's a couple of exciting solutions to that problem.
So how would you describe yourself then to somebody who maybe doesn't understand that? It's like, we know Polygon is sort of is layered on top of Ethereum, and it's doing its own thing. And there's some other layer 2 solutions. Like, how does that differ from what you guys are? Are you guys just connecting all those different layers and with Ethereum and putting another layer on top of that? How's that work?
Yeah, so we're your suite for accessing all of those solutions. So when you're building an application on Ethereum, you have to have a connection to the Ethereum network. And so what that means is you have to be able to access a node or an Ethereum client, which is basically your peer inside of the Ethereum network. And so what we do is we make that accessible just via an API. So you don't have to run any servers, you don't have to manage any peering connections, you don't have to do any blockchain spin-ups or anything like that. It's literally just plug into a URL with your standard Ethereum libraries, and you're good to go, and it just works. So we offer even more connections than just the basic Ethereum connection, which allows them to start solving problems like that, like the high gas transaction and stuff like that. So one URL, you're good to go. You can hit all these networks. It's super, super easy.
There are still some people that are making NFTs that aren't using IPFS, right? And you guys are all in on that. So when people put their NFTs up, they know that they're out there forever and they can't be lost.
Yeah, I mean, so IPFS is super cool. So we just launched our premium IPFS product, but we've been supporting IPFS for as long as we've supported Ethereum.
Let me pause you for a second, because there's a lot of people that don't know what interplanetary file storage is. Maybe kind of break it down for us and explain what IPFS is and why it's so important.
So IPFS is a distributed file storage system. And so I'll break that down, what that means. So basically you have a series of participants in this distributed network. And all of them agree on this way of identifying data, which is called the content ID. And that's a standardized content ID structure that the IPFS network depends on. So all of these participants in the network are serving each other data and storing data and making that data accessible in a bunch of different ways. The beauty of that is that anyone can store any of that data across the network. So if one person stops storing it, you can get it from someone else. And so what Infura does is we make it so that you know that data is not going to go anywhere. So it can get replicated across the network, and it will, because that's just how it works. But at the end of the day, you know what we're going to ensure that that's always there, and give you that peace of mind. IPFS is really an ultra resilient data layer that developers can plug into their applications. So if you think about all of the things that you store data in your application, so, profile, picture, there's a million different things that kind of fall into that. For those things that you really need to ensure that they're going to be there when you need it, and resilient to some of the network attacks that you're seeing in traditional Web 2 applications, this solves those problems, because you're not relying on a single source of hosting that data. The network participates as a mesh to create resiliency and security around that data.
And that is important, right? We've all gone to a website and been like, oh, this photo is no longer here, or this website does no longer exist. And without that, having that backup and having things in different places, then you can create some problems, and especially in the NFT world. Because if somebody's hosting their NFTs, which some have done on OpenSea, right? There's been other places that have hosted their NFT image files on AWS, and that if Amazon shuts that server down, or those image resources get moved, then your NFT is gone, folks. So it's that's one thing that's huge. So are you guys working with a lot of stuff around NFTs? Is that something that with this new IPFS solution, is it something you find that more and more stuff is being built on Infura utilizing NFTs? Are you seeing that upward trend?
Yeah, I think we have. What the funny thing about NFTs is they've been around for quite some time, and people have been using that format of the Ethereum smart contract for let's say over 2 years, nearly 3, maybe even over 3 years, and